Right, guys, I've noticed recently, I mean, it, it may be just that more people are doing YouTube channels or whatever. There's quite a lot of people arriving in Bulgaria, which there always has been, but not many last or stay that long. I don't know why. They move on or go back or whatever. Um, Maybe it's because of what I'm going to talk about now, right? Because you see the people coming over and some are arriving now, and they've got the channels and they're doing a lot of things right. Like they've got a lot of views on the channels and that because they do clickbait and stuff like that. But like that's great um, if that's the aim, and it's a good it's a good way to make money. Probably, my channel's monetized, but I don't use it, and then you don't get the algorithm then sending people um, and whatever. Anyway, so this isn't meant to be a hit piece, but in the background, you see, I watch these videos because they're fed to me because my titles include Bulgaria, so I get all these Bulgarian these people that come into Bulgaria, and quite often they're saying like this happened, that happened, the other happened, and it didn't. But anyway, that's if that's the thing, broken Britain. They live in a fantasy world, Anyway, so let's hope they don't turn Bulgaria for them into broken Bulgaria. You know. Um, so what I would say is looking in the background on what they're saying and what's coming across is that, and I'm not going to say which people because and they'll probably guess anyway, or some people will, who they are, and they're not ready. They don't seem to be ready for the winter, and that's what this video is about: preparing for the winter, because it can dash a lot of people. And these people are full of hopes and dreams, and some of them have made they've made the what's his name, the move. They've sold up, and they haven't even spent a winter here yet. Anyway, and that's what finishes a lot of people off here. The winters they don't generally like. I don't know what it is, the cold or whatever. I don't know. I find the winters in the UK worse than here. And it depends on what I'm going to talk about now, being prepared. And if you get caught out here, it can be misery. Not so much life or death, life or misery. Right? So I'm speaking from a position that I've spent I worked it out, 18 of the last 22 winters in Bulgaria. And I can say, hand on heart, I've enjoyed every single one of them. And the challenge. So I can share that with you now, like how it all developed and how you get ready for winter. And you've got to get ready. It's no good reacting here because there's certain factors like snow. Once it snows, it's snowed, and then if you're not ready, you're snowed in, basically. Anyway, so I'll go through like the main like say 5 points. It's roughly 5 points. First one is your heating system in your house. What you're gonna go with, whether it's electric, solar, even gas. Not many people heat the houses with gas and wood burner. Gas is a good backup, especially for heating and stuff like that. Electric in the sticks, you can do it, but you need backup. You'll need a Jenny. We have power cuts here, and sometimes a long power cuts. And if you're on a wood burner as your primary source, and it's well set up, like I'm going to explain how you do it now. if that's your primary source, you don't need much else. You wouldn't really need a Jenny. Or you could have one, probably. Or maybe it's a couple of batteries, some 12-volt lights or whatever. And then you've got little tiny things which make a big difference. Tiny things. You got it. And if they're not there, you could struggle. Okay, so number one, I'd go for the wood burner. So if you go for that, right, you've got to have wood. And I would say to anyone, if you're arriving in Bulgaria and you're scratching about for bits of twigs and that, it's not going to work out very well. Or you're going to struggle, at least. Minimum, you're going to struggle. And you'll start using electric probably. And then if you get a power cut and all your wood's run out, shit street, or what do you call it? Up Shit Creek. And you can end up there. So day one, if you come in and you've decided you're going to go on with wood. Day two, get on the blower, with your Bulgarian new friends or interpreter, whatever, and get 10 cubic meters of wood. 10. And that'll set you off. If you're here for the duration. If you're gonna be aiming to, this is the move. You're gonna stay here. You've decided this is your new life, which is fantastic, and it can be fun. It can be great here. Great for me. I'm one of those people where they say you either like it, it's for you, or it's not. Well, it's for me. I've been here that long. Anyway, especially in the winters. So if you go at 10 cubic meters, and that sounds a lot, I'm saying, 10 cubic, well, we've got wood here in the shed. Yeah, you can either listen or don't listen. And then you set up then, and for however long it burns, and you'll be surprised at the end of the winter how much wood you've burnt. You'll be surprised. It surprises me even now when you look at it. 5 cubic meters looks a lot of wood, and it's not. If that's your heat source. So we're paying around here about 90 cubic meters, 90 lev a cubic meter. And so that 10 cube is 900 lev, which is about 400 quid. That's it. And that's going to do you, if you don't think it's a lot of wood, that'll do you for 2 winters, and it's seasoning. That's why I said 10. Because it seasons as it goes. And you'll find out it burns better, heat hotter. You get more calorific value out of it. And then get a good wood burner if you haven't got one. Or if you've got a shit one, get a good one as well. And use the other one for somewhere else in the house, whatever. Anyway, and you'd be surprised and learn how to light a fire properly. And I've got a couple of videos on how to light a fire, or how I light a fire in seconds, and it's a roaring inferno within 3 or 4 minutes. And you don't have to worry about it then. I lit one fire yesterday, and that was it. I didn't open the door again all day, and it was still, you could feel the heat. And I've got like I've got to get some more actually, the sand battery on top, and it works. Things like that. And I've been looking for one of them fans that run on, they just run on the heat, but I haven't got one. But it doesn't matter. But anyway, so that's number one. Get your heat in, and then day 2, I'd get 2 gas bottles, just in case, for whatever reason. They're handy if you want to cook outdoors. if you want to heat a space somewhere, you can get these little, just like, it looks like a grill on a stand, it's a heater. Or you can get them with, they're actually on top of the little gas bottles, the smaller ones. But I'd go and get 2 gas bottles, and you set then, and get a 2-burner there. They call them Kotlon, the 2-burner, like a camping gas thing. But like people use them as the main cooking. I use mine all summer. I've got a 2-burner, fantastic. And if when it gets too hot in the house, you can cook outside, and then you use it as a backup, and you can run things like blowtorches off them, and all sorts, LPG, or you can have standalone heaters. They cause a lot of condensation. I found I had one and I threw it out because it was bulky, and I just didn't like it. I threw it away in the end because it was too bulky to keep moving. Anyway, so if you're going to go for electric, you've got to have backup, because we do get power cuts in Bulgaria often, and they can be long. One village around here had 7 days. It was out last winter, and it wasn't even severe, and it wasn't even tons and tons of snow. It was just the problems backed up, I think, for the electric department, or they just couldn't be asked going to this village back and beyond. I don't know, but like they would have got sorted out with Jenny's and all, and aid and all that. And if they bought a Jenny, they would. I think they got compensated anyway. But you're going to be faced. You might be faced with that. With a wood burner, it wouldn't even affect you. If you've got a good wood burner and that's what your house is running around, which is what I've got, then I use gas for cooking, so power cuts wouldn't affect me cooking either. And they don't if you're cooking on the wood burner. You can always knock up something in the wood burner. And all the rest of it, and all the little tiny things just going crossing my mind as we go. If you do get a power cut, head torches, invaluable, not essential, but invaluable. You don't. If you're going out for wood and that, you might be going out into the yard, and you need 2 hands. You don't want to have your phone as your torch, and you're trying to carry logs. All these little tiny things add up to a comfortable life and enjoyable. I enjoyed the winters, I really do. And people think maybe you're not wired up the same as other people, obviously, if you're in Bulgaria and you like it. Anyway, so the second one is your vehicle. Get your vehicle sorted out. Get your vehicle winter ready. And there's only a few things you have to do. Number 1, super duper antifreeze, -40. You might not know what's in your car at the moment, so the best thing is to change it and put the super duper stuff in, and you're right then. Super duper. You can either get concentrate, which I don't bother with, or ready stuff, gutov, that's what they call it. That's usually yellow, and then you've got your screen wash, and you can use the screen wash. You can put it on a rag and wipe it round your rubbers on your door, and your door will open easier when it's super cold. And you can also put a little bit of that in maybe your lock. The screen wash, not the antifreeze, screen wash. So number 2 is your battery. You've got to keep your battery charged up. Not so much, this isn't a snow issue. This is like keep in cold. This is cold temperatures. Anything -8 and below, I'd be trickle charging the battery, and I can do that from the house here. And you know, it's a good idea. Well, your battery will dissipate 2 nights at -12, and your battery's probably dead or close. And once they dissipate like that, it can damage them, and they never seem to be the same. So that's your battery, and you get the little battery chargers now, and they have a feature, cold weather feature, and it doesn't cook the battery. It doesn't continuously charge it and cook it. It stops when it's full, and then it'll start again. So they're excellent little tiny chargers, and that's another thing. You can have plenty of. I've got loads and loads of extension leads in my house, and more than I need. I've got tons of the caravan type ones as well, because I used to bring caravans down. And, so that's your car. Now, when it's going to snow, it's a good idea to pull your windscreen wipers off the car, so that on the outward position, mid-air, off your windscreen, because it can. It gets in and around them, and they can freeze onto the windscreen, and like it can rip the very thin strip off the wiper, and it can damage the motor as well if you've accidentally left them on intermittent or whatever, and it's trying to push, and it'll burn the motor out. It could do, The other one is, don't leave snow on your car. It becomes a block of ice, because in the daytime it melts, and it gets in all the cracks all in and around you. Your car becomes a block of ice. Clear your car. And I actually go down to the village square to clean mine, because otherwise you'd end up with a great big pile of snow around your car all the time, and you've got to clear that then. So you've got to move it twice, clear the car, and then you've got to get it from the car somewhere, which you haven't got much places to shove it round here outside. And the other one is, if the snowplow comes past your house and you need to get out with the car, clear it straight away, because it'll become an ice wall. Well, it does, because every time that they're compacting the snow, as they're clearing it, the snowplow, it's compacting, and then it becomes block ice, and you get an ice wall. In our case, it'll be, you won't even get your car door open if you don't clear it straight away. So that all these things have got to be done, I think, anyway. And if you've got a long driveway, put your car near the road. Even if you've got to reverse it a little bit to clear the snow, to the ice wall to get out, put your car as close to the road as you can, and then you've got less clearing snow to get to the road. All these things you've got to prepare before. Now, you can't do any of that unless you've got a snow shovel, and you want to buy one of them before it snows, because where are you going to get one after it's snowed? So, number one, get some wood. Number two, gas bottles and some, things to run off them. Number three, or maybe on the same trip as your gas bottles, snow shovel. And if you see the small ones, there are only a few left, and you can get the ones that you pull out for your inside your car to carry around with you, and that's a good thing. And you can get a bucket of ash, and that'll give your tyres some traction if you're spinning somewhere. So the other one is the tyres, and there's an issue on the tyres that it's not law. You don't have to have winter snow tyres. But you do if you go out in the snow. There's a caveat, because people are saying, well, we don't want them to be the law, because we only go out when the roads are clear, even most of the winter. And they said, okay, but if you do go out in the snow, you've got to have snow tyres. That's the rule. Okay? If it's easy to understand when once it's explained that your car's got to be ready for the weather conditions that it's in. That's how they put it. Okay? So that's that one. So that's your car, more or less sorted out, you know. And very important with the battery, especially when it gets cold. And the temperatures here can just plummet. You only need one night, and you can have a lot of damage in and around your house and your car. Costly, well, you know, bit of misery, and it can be very costly as well. So next thing you want to look at is your water supply to your house, and find your meter. You probably have, if you're a new arrival in Bulgaria, you probably have a new meter. Cover it with as much insulation as you can. And what I do is I put a bulb, the old type bulbs, you can still get them in Bulgaria. And they get hot, and I put one of them in the chamber by the meter so it doesn't freeze. If they freeze, they smash. And then you've got to get another one then. And in our area, you've got to get them to fit it. You buy it from the water department. It's a rigmarole. I had one smash here, even though it was covered with insulation. I think it got damp, the insulation, and it froze, and it smashed the meat. It happens a lot to a lot of people, even all the locals. If you get that one night of like -20, that's all you need, and you can be without water for days and days until it decides to defrost. And even if you can defrost it, you've got to change the meter. You can get these little things that you can remove your meter and put this. It's like a bridge. You can put them in as a temporary emergency measure. Anyway, so the other thing is, it's quite obvious, is your roof. And a lot people don't have to be told that. Make sure your roof's and a good way to do that actually is from the inside. If you can get in your roof space, you can see all the little any little holes or leaks. You can see it better from inside your roof area space. And I check mine just before every winter. And you only need a tile slipped. And then if it is slipped, the snow can rip it out then when it slips off the roof. That's another thing. Snow coming off roofs, be careful. Especially in town. Or when you get say a 3-story block, like shops with apartments on top. I've seen people poleaxed with the snow coming off the roof in town. And Sevlievo, this woman, she just got poleaxed, and she was like flat out buried in all this snow. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but you got to be careful in town. Watch where you're walking, and especially if it's sunny and it's getting warming up, and you can see the snow on all the roofs. Be careful where you're walking. sometimes it's a good idea to keep away from the buildings wherever possible. Be careful. I've seen a couple of people poleaxed. Not just that woman, other people. And if it's ice, it could kill you. It really could. Or at least break your shoulders or smash your neck in or whatever. It's serious. Anyway, and then there's the slipping over. It's all like treacherous. It's very, can be very precarious. Anyway, you're best off just doing as little as possible and just use it as recreation time rather than and they get pack ice in town. The pavements can become pack ice, and it gets all uneven as well. It's a nightmare if you're not ready, if you're not accustomed to it. You're best off having all your stuff in that you need at home, and just enjoy the snow around the house. Anyway, so these are all the things and the next thing is you've got to have proper clothing if you're going to be out and about, and even if you're not. Proper clothing for inside the house and outside. And I've been through this a lot on here. You see these things about England. There's these pensioners sat there in a cardigan, with the suede on the front. I don't know why they wear them. It's like I'm old. I'm a pensioner. I'm gonna wear I'm now gonna get a cardigan, although I've never had one, with suede down the front because I'm 70. But it doesn't have to be like that. Even old people can wear good gear. I'll be 70 soon, and I won't be wearing a cardi from Marks and Spencer's and some flannel trousers, complaining about the cold. And sat there as if there's nothing you can do. Anyone can wear a down coat. Get a grip. I'll never die of hypothermia. Never. And in your bed, they're actually selling water bottles at the moment in Lidl. If anyone wants one, in Bulgaria, water bottles. Amazing. And I have electric blanket, and I've got 2 on standby. I just bought them because they were so cheap in B&M bargains years ago. I've still got one in the box. I haven't used it. That's preppy. That's buying ahead. And I have and put something underneath it as well. If you've got a big heavy blanket, which most Bulgarian houses you find one somewhere. I put this faux fur. I bought it in England. And it's toasty warm. It acts like real fur. And it's on a 13.5 tog duvet, and it's heavy. You can feel the heat and the weight straight away. So if that's your bedding, your what's the name for the ladies? A lot of ladies here wear the all-in-one a ski suits in the winter and moon boots. That seems to be the vogue, and they're not cold. They don't look that fetching, but the imagination. And a good pair of boots. I don't have the moon boots. I've got snow boots. Fantastic, beautiful. And like I say, I'm never cold, and I won't be a pensioner on statistic. Not even in Bulgaria, Anyway. So there's the things, the energy for your house, vehicle, and then your immediate apparel for the winter. Good hats. I've got a proper Russian hat, the shapka, wolf fur. I bought her on Checkpoint Charlie. in Berlin. Proper one. And you can't wear it unless it's -12. It boils your head. It boils your head. You sweat and sweat dripping down. It's too hot. So I've got various hats for various different temperatures. Same with coats. The warmest being a Fjord Raven. You know, these are serious gear. That's what you've got to have. Not Marks and Spencers, not cardigans. You know, and a cravat or something like, you know, that's for the summer. Anyway, so that's the winter in a nutshell in Bulgaria. And there's lots of other things. And you need your snow shovel before it snows. Otherwise, how are you going to get out? Okay. Cheers.